Our first question of the night, in terms of our NBA news section, is going to be the opening night schedule and our personal predictions of how those games are going to go. So, our first matchup is 7 p.m. Eastern Time, December 22nd. It's going to be Golden State versus the Nets. So, what are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be a tough matchup. Um, I don't know. Nobody's seen how Kyrie and KD are going to play together. So it makes it a little difficult to kind of picture how good they're going to be. But
That's
I
fair.
don't know. I think my trust is in Golden State. I know they're out Clay, but
Yep.
and even though everybody's been saying it for years, but I think Andrew Wiggins is finally going to take that step to where he is going to start living up to his potential. I think we're going to see a flash of that on that night. I think Golden State's going to take it. They've got James Wiseman now, who is going to be a great center. Um, he's just a great addition to that team. I think Golden State's going to take it. Steph Curry's going to be hungry. He's ready to be back. He's ready to start the season. They missed out on the bubble. I don't think Curry liked being out of the playoffs. So I think Golden State's going to come out firing, and I think they're going to be too much for KD and Kyrie to handle.
That's fair. I'm actually going on the flip side. I'm going to put my money on the Nets in that matchup. Probably more, it's a pipe dream because I want to see them win. I'm more curious to see how they perform. Um, I'm going to take the Nets in that one. I think they have a lot of potential. They got a couple of young guys, obviously running with a couple of veterans, as do most teams. Depending on how they mesh, kind of like what you said, they have the potential to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the Nets in that matchup because I also don't know how healthy Curry truly is or how ready he truly is, to return with missing a good portion of games last year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Nets in that matchup. I think it'll be fun to kind of, message back and forth during that game and be like, ha, told you so, whichever way it goes. Um,
It's going to go my way, but
Whatever. All right. So with our next matchup, we've got the Clippers versus the Lakers at 10 p.m. Eastern time. I'm gonna say it. Lakers take it.
yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one.
I don't think
The Clippers have not done anything in this offseason that's going to make them obviously better than they were last year. And
it's the
I
Lakers
mean,
have.
they they picked up Serge Ibaka, or is it Sergey? I have
It's
no
Surge.
idea.
Yeah, it's Surge. But yeah, so they
Okay.
picked up Ibaka.
Uh,
And the Lakers, they've improved a lot. They made a lot
and
of real big moves. What'd you say?
I hate to admit, I don't want to see the Lakers be good this year. But
Neither
you
do
know
I.
what?
They're kind of like, my personal opinion of the Patriots basketball. They're the basketball Patriots.
I would
Um,
agree.
you know, and nothing against, LeBron or Anthony Davis or, any of those guys. But I like to see a mix up of teams. So if they are going to be that good, I want to see some really solid upsets against them. That's what I would prefer to see. I'm a huge underdog kind of
Hmm.
fan. I was rooting for the underdogs all throughout last year. Like I loved watching the Blazers play in that first series against the Lakers. I thought that crap was amazing. Like
The Blazers are going to be good this year. They've made some good off-season moves. So
they
funny you
have.
mentioned that, but the Blazers are going to have a good year in my opinion.
Yep, and I hope they do. I'm a pretty solid Damian Lillard fan. With that though, back to the matchup since we're still on that, I think the Lakers take it. No
I
questions asked.
agree. I'm going to say the Lakers as well.
Yep, which kind of sucks for my personal opinion, but it is what it is.
Right.
All right, so moving on to our next little topic because that's the first matchups of the season. Unless you want to go ahead and discuss the next day.
We can go into the next day. That's fine.
Okay.
Just some of the key matchups on the next day.
So the two main key matchups the next day are going to be the Bucks Celtics at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on the 23rd. That'll be a
That's a
fun game to
good
watch.
game.
It's
But
gonna
I
be
mean,
that
you got
will
to
be a good
remember it's the
game,
Celtics without Gordon Hayward
and it's the Bucks with Drew Holiday.
with Drew Holiday.
I think the
I'm going to
Bucks
take the
take it.
Bucks. One.
Yeah, I think the Bucks take it. I think it's gonna be a good game. Don't get me wrong.
I got to say, a little impartial, but you know what? I'm going to take the Bucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, like I said, I think it's gonna be a great game, but I got the Bucks taking that one. Um, then our next matchup's going to be Suns versus Mavericks at 10:30.
That is actually going to be a fun one to watch. The
It will.
Suns, who
They got Chris Paul.
who pick Chris Paul. That's gonna be a fun game.
Yep.
This is gonna be the truth. Can be what everybody thinks he's gonna be because he finally has a team around. But
Yep.
I think Luka Magic and Kristaps are gonna be just a little too much for the Suns to take right out the gate. I think the Suns are gonna be a much better contender later on in the season, but I think opening night for them, I'm gonna take the Mavs.
That's fair. I can get behind that reasoning. They might need a little more time to mesh. Now, again, kind of like with my Nets matchup pick, I would like to see the Suns win. Do I think it's realistic? Probably not. But then again, like I said, I'm a huge underdog fan. So I'm going to
But I
agree
mean, there's
to.
the also Chris Paul is what.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm going to agree to disagree. I'm going to root for the Suns. I think it's going to be a close matchup, but again, it's going to come down to the meshing of the teammates now that they are, together. They haven't been before. So with
And I
the
mean,
addition of new stars always makes things interesting from both sides. It could be really good, it could be really bad, but Chris Paul is one of those guys that's not going to try to outshine you. He's a very good team
exactly.
player. So
That's what I was gonna kind of say is, I mean, if there's anybody that's gonna help them out the gate, it's Chris Paul. Chris
agreed.
Paul's he's a true veteran. He's a ball player.
Yeah,
He's gonna be there to help. He's gonna be that supplemental piece that I think they needed to make their
yeah,
playoff berth.
agreed. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna look at a player, a veteran, that's been moved around the league in the last couple years, um, you know, to any team, he's the guy you want because he's going to be the guy that's going to let you take that shot versus the guy that's going to pull up and take it for himself. You
Right.
know, he's
Yep.
willing to share that spotlight because he's a team first kind of player.
Yep.
Um, all right, so those are our first 2 days worth of matchups. Then, of course, we got Christmas Day, but we'll hit on that, in a later podcast when we get a little bit closer to that time after we've seen some of the stuff kind of play out here a little bit.
Festive season.
You said what?
Said as soon as you get to festive season.
I mean, it's already festive season. I watched my first Christmas movie yesterday.
All right. Well, we'll go festive season. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's fine. All right. So next topic is going to be trades and free agent signings.
Let me pull that up real quick just so I have a reference.
Yep, you got it. So I'll just kind of go ahead and start talking here. I'll ask you some questions, chip in while you're pulling that up. So we got the Rockets trade for Russell Westbrook to the Wizards for John Wall and a first round pick. And I know you and I kind of, yeah, I know you and I kind of went back and forth texting last night about that. But, go ahead and speak your piece on that because I think you're pretty dead on accurate and you speak for both of us.
It is frankly just a horrible trade for both teams. If any team wins, it's the Wizards. I don't think you can declare a winner of this trade at all. I think it's going to ultimately be bad for both teams. Uh,
Yep.
Russell Westbrook and James Harden, the experiment did not work out, um, to say the least.
I am not a Harden
Because
fan. I'm going to say it
it
again. I
was
am not a
it
James
was
Harden.
finals or bust, and they did not obviously make it to the finals, which is why they're shipping out Russell Westbrook because there's disagreements already. Uh, I don't think either one of those players can genuinely play with another All Star that needs the ball. And I
They're
think
the
Russell
exact
Westbrook,
opposite of Chris Paul.
yeah, if it was going to work with anybody in Houston, it was going to be Chris Paul. And James Harden didn't like that either. Um, I think in Washington, it's going to be a problem because Bradley Beal is the star of Washington.
Yep.
He is the Wizards star. He is going to be getting the bulk of touches, and I don't think that's going to work for Russell. On the flip side, John Wall hasn't had a genuinely full healthy season in Lord knows how long. But I guess you can technically say the Wizards won because they traded John Wall and a first round pick for Russell Westbrook. So in theory, they got the better player, but it's a crapshoot. I don't see either one of these teams winning this trade. I think James Harden is on his way out of Houston. I think it's a scrap.
Honestly, what it comes down to for me, and basically just kind of reiterating, wording it a little differently than you, it comes down to the chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes down to. That's the biggest problem. Why I don't think, and you don't think that either team really won that trade.
Yeah,
because they have stars that lack chemistry with guys that are easy to get along with, and then they hand each other players that are a little harder to get along with.
right. It's like
So yeah,
John Wall relies on his athleticism, and I mean the injury he had. What was it? Was it a quad tear or was it an Achilles?
I
It was something in the leg.
don't
It's
remember.
whatever it is. It's going to affect his explosiveness, his athleticism, which is exactly what he relies on. He's never developed that reliable 3-point shot, which is what Houston lives on. Houston is all about analytics and shoot as many shots as you can, and eventually you're going to start making some. And he just does not fit that scheme at all. He's not known for his outstanding playmaking abilities. Like he's serviceable at being a playmaker, but he's not known for being the guy that's going to get other guys open. At least
Yep,
he hasn't in the past few years because his athleticism is deteriorating.
yep, definitely. All right, so on to the next trade. I feel like we kind of beat that horse enough. That we don't like it. On to the next trade. We got the Celtics sending Gordon Hayward to the Hornets.
And who did they get for that?
2 second-round picks, one in 2023, one in 2024.
This is one that does, but at the same time does not make sense to me.
Oh, wait,
Um,
hold up. Let me back that up. I was actually wrong on that.
okay.
It's actually worse than that. The Celtics lost this trade, in my opinion, now that I'm reading it fully. Hayward will be signed and traded from Boston to Charlotte, along with 2 future second-round picks in 23 and 24.
Okay.
In exchange for a future second-round pick in 2022. So they took 1 second-round pick next year, gave them 2 second-round picks in the 2 following years, and Gordon Hayward. That's it.
So wait, Boston sent 2 picks and
Boston
Gordon
sent 2
Hayward
picks
to
in
Charlotte.
Hayward for 1 pick from Charlotte. No players, it's just 1 pick.
So was that just a salary cap dump?
It looks like it because they waived a $27.9 million contract.
Okay. So that, I mean,
So really, they got to waive money out of it and 1 second round pick. That's all.
to me that it makes a little bit of sense. Um, Gordon Hayward, who's obviously been struggling with injury, that's a big contract to keep on your books.
That's
Um,
true.
I don't know that they necessarily needed to package additional draft picks with him. Um,
I think him for a second round pick is plenty
More than
solid.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially to Charlotte. I mean, um, so I don't necessarily know how to feel about that one,
I don't like it.
but
I don't. I think the Celtics gave up way too much for
they
one pick
did.
and a salary drop.
But at the same time, how many? I'd be interested to know how many picks they have in the coming years.
Yeah. That'll be something
Like
I'll have to further
if they've
research.
got just a surplus of picks, then it makes more sense to like, hey, we'll throw all this in just to dump that contract.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Uh,
if they have 2 second round picks in both of those years, it makes sense to maybe dump one.
yeah,
But still, that's something you could have used in a different trade, in my mind, anyway.
I I agree, but at the same time, it's like they've gone to the playoffs. How many years? Oh, here we go. Pull this up right here.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, they've gone to the playoffs however many years without
without him, yeah.
him. They know they can do it. So I guess at the end of the day, he's not exactly a vital part of that team. He would be a nice addition if he could stay healthy, but that's obviously just been the issue, is he obviously can't. To me, it does to an extent make sense, but I think there were other routes they could have gone.
Yep, agreed. So I'm not even going to touch, or I don't want to touch on the Lakers trades. They've made so many different ones. I'm just going to say that they've
Yeah,
definitely built a solid team.
yeah.
Um, and there's other trades that I want to focus on in teams that aren't the front runners of the year anyway. That
All
could
right.
boost them into that play-in scenario. So with that, next trade is the Pelicans getting Steve Adams in that 4-team trade between Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, New Orleans, and the Nuggets.
I like it. At the end of the day, I'm excited that Milwaukee has gotten a reliable point guard, a reliable star point guard. Eric Bledsoe, who was known to disappear in those big moments, they got rid of him and now brought Drew Star, who is Drew Holiday, who has proven he can do it. Um, so I think that's a good deal for them. Steven Adams to the Pelicans is, I think, a huge addition for them.
Yep.
He's a great center, and he's going to be there to help out Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes is probably going to be coming off the bench now, but Jackson Hayes, as he showed last year, is a solid option as well. Uh, I don't. Do they still have Derek Favors? Do you know?
I think so. I haven't seen anything on trade news
Okay.
or any movement on that.
It'll be kind of interesting what they do with their front court rotation. Obviously, having Steven Adams, Nicolo Melli, Derek Favors, and Jackson Hayes all in the mix is a little bit of much or a little bit much. Uh, but all in all, having a center the caliber of Steven Adams on your team, on that young team nonetheless, uh, I think is a great pickup. I think the Pelicans are going to be a lot better next year than people are going to give them credit for. Brandon Ingram took a huge step last year. Zion is obviously going to be the starting forward, given that he's healthy. Which, I
Yep.
mean, He's dropping weight. He's getting into shape. So I don't see that being as much of an issue as people are trying to make it out to be. And I mean, on paper, if you look at a starting lineup of Steven Adams, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, Eric Bledsoe, who is going to be, I think he will do well down there. And then, I don't even know who they would have at the shooting guard position. Would it be Josh Hart? Would it be Lonzo? Whoever it is, that's still just a great person core there in what I just said, and then rotate whoever you want at the shot. That's a very good team to me. I think they're going to be a lot bigger competitors than a lot of people are going to give them credit for.
I can agree with that. So then, moving on, we're just going to kind of glaze over these ones here. Thunder get Trevor Ariza in a 3-team trade. Don't really see anything that's, explosive there.
Trevor Ariza, he's a serviceable guy. He's a good veteran to have on a team, but he's not. I mean, he's not a star. He was a borderline star early on in his career, but at this point, he's just a nice, serviceable veteran to have. Obviously, with the Thunder imploding their team and going through a full blown rebuild, it's just a good, solid veteran piece to have to help mentor the young guys. So,
and then we got the Celtics and Enes Kanter to the Blazers in a 3-team deal between the Celtics, Blazers, and Grizzlies.
I like Kanter. I like him a lot. He's a workhorse kind of guy. He always helps whatever team he's on. So any team that gets him, I like it. He's one of those guys who's loyal to his teammates, will stand up for them no matter what. And it's just, I think he's a good veteran to have on your team.
Yep, I can get behind that. And then our last one we're going to go over here that I think's a really big one, since we're not really touching on the Lakers ones because, like I said, they had a ton of movement in this offseason. We could go over that for the next 30 minutes. Let's talk about where to go. The Warriors getting Kelly Oubre.
Kelly Oubre, the heartthrob of the NBA.
Yeah, my brother is huge on that. He's like, "Oh my God, the Warriors got Kelly Oubre." Finals for sure.
Kelly Oubre is a very, I don't want to say undervalued because every team that he is on respects what he does, but at the same time, he is not given enough credit for what he provides to his team. He's a very great, very great role player to have. He's gonna do what you expect of him to help his team. He's not a star in my opinion, but at the same time, he's right on that cusp of being a star, but he's also just that role player, that solid go-to. He's going to do the right thing. So I think that it is a great pickup for the Warriors. Like I said earlier, I think the Warriors are going to be good this year. I think Wiggins is going to take that step, and then having a guy like Oubre in your starting lineup with Draymond Green and James Wiseman, I think the Warriors are going to be good this year, and I think that's a great pickup for them.
Yep, I can agree with that. Like I said, our brother's huge on it. He's all excited. I think if Klay Thompson was in, I would agree with him and say for sure finals. I think they're going to be good, but we'll see how far they go. I think it's kind of anybody's season for the most part, obviously, since we hadn't started.
Right. I think
With
the West is so loaded right now. I think
oh, definitely.
genuinely any team can come out of the West at this point. I think the Lakers have done a lot to be great, but at the same time, there are so many other teams this year. Denver gave everybody a run for their money last year.
Man, I was
Granted,
rooting for
Denver
Denver
didn't do
super hard.
anything in the offseason, but you got to count on Jamal Murray to get better, Jokic to get better, Michael Porter Jr. to get better.
And they
Like,
added
there
RJ
are,
and they added rookie RJ Hampton in one of their trades.
it's just, I think there's going to be so many good teams in the West this year. I have no idea who's going to come out on top. In
Yep.
my opinion, I think the Lakers are great, but I don't think there is a clear cut winner of the West this year.
Not yet, for sure.
Not yet. My way too early predictions is once again Milwaukee's going to win the finals.
Okay. Um,
But I think it's going to be against the Mavericks. Unpopular opinion, but I think it's going to be against the Mavericks.
I would love to see that matchup. I just don't see the Mavericks being the other team on the other side.
Which I get, but
I mean, they
I
could be.
guess
They very well
I
could
guess
be.
that's not a I guess that's not an early prediction. That's more of like my hot take.
Yeah. And I mean, that's fair. I'm not even going to really give one right now.
That's fair. I
Because
think
we've already kind
maybe
of
we should
touched on,
watch one game.
yeah, we've already kind of touched on what teams we think are going to be good and what's going to be the caveats to whether they're going to be good or not. You know,
Yeah.
their pros and cons. So I feel like that's enough for us for this episode. And then next time, after we've seen a game, after we've seen how these new guys mesh together, you know, like we were talking about with Chris Paul, uh, Kevin Durant, those kind of guys. After we see how they mesh in their new teams, I think we'll be able to make
Yeah.
better calls. So we'll hold off on that one to make true predictions.
Okay.
Um,
I like that.
Next, we're going to roll into the rookies we are most excited for. I'll start it off by saying I'm excited for LaMelo Ball for one reason only because of what his father said. The fact that LeVar guaranteed that LaMelo is going to win Rookie of the Year. That's the only reason I'm excited about him. I mean, I know he's a good player. He has a lot of potential. I want to see truly how good he's going to be in the league, especially being on the Hornets.
Mm.
Being on a team where he might be the only bright spot on that team. You know, spotlight is 100% on him.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens. But the actual rookie I'm most excited for is probably going to have to be Weissman.
Really.
It is. I know it's a really popular pick to be a favorite. I'm excited because, as you were talking earlier, about the Warriors and how, you think that they have the potential to be really good this year. Steph coming back as long as he stays healthy and he's truly ready. Um, I think it's going to be interesting because Weissman's going to have to take a larger role with.
He's going to have to immediately step into that role, is the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Wiggins is going to have to step up. Weissman has to step directly into that role and be able to support the guys around him. And I think that that's going to be truly interesting because he's stepping into a big market team as a rookie, getting thrust straight into the spotlight. And I always love watching how guys react when that happens. If they're going to live up to their potential or if they're going to kind of undershine for what the hype is behind them. So I'm most excited for him for that reason.
Okay. That makes sense to me. So I think the rookie that I am the most excited for, I'm a little I'm like a pseudo Bulls fan because I'm really not a Bulls fan, but I like the Bulls rookies. I like watching the Bulls rookies. I'm in Illinois, so I enjoy
I would say we
watching the
both like.
Bulls.
I would say we both like the Bulls, both being from Illinois, more for the
Mm,
fact of their legacy of the Bulls more than we like the actual Bulls.
huge Derrick Rose fans. The team that
Yeah,
drafted Derrick Rose, big fan. Um,
big Jordan fans, obviously, one of the greatest of all time. So I think it's more their legacy that draws us than anything. So yeah, we're kind of both
yeah,
pseudo Bulls fans. That's what I would say.
yeah. But I would say with Patrick Williams, I'm excited to see. I am excited to see what drew them to pick him with the number 4 pick. Um,
More like, what did they see?
I
That
mean,
everybody else
he
didn't, kind of thing.
right, like he was 6th man of the year for his conference. Like he wasn't even a starter. So what was there that they saw that made them decide we're going to pull the trigger on this guy as the number 4 pick? I mean, I watched some of his highlight videos. He's got a nice looking shot. He's super athletic, incredibly bouncy. Um, I think he's going to be a fun pick. And the thing that I am the most excited about now that the Bulls are out of that Garpax regime and they brought in a great coach with Billy Donovan. Uh, I can't remember who they hired into the front office, but the every pick they've made up until this point was a pick you kind of know their ceiling. It's a safe pick. Wendell Carter, he's going to be when you look at him, he's going to be a serviceable big. I hope he expands beyond that and becomes a great big, but
I
we
think he
know
has
he's going to
potential
be.
for a breakout season. I really
I
do.
agree,
I
but
think with
it's like
him,
you
Kobe
know
White,
that he's going to be good. Daniel Gafford is my big man. But it's like they've constantly gone with the safe pick. They've gone with the guy that you would expect them to pick. And this year they didn't do that. They picked a guy based on they finally picked a guy based on he's not they didn't pick a guy that they knew was NBA ready right now, right this second. He's going to step in, he's going to be serviceable. They picked a guy based on what can he do? What do we think he will do? So he is who I am most excited to watch. I'm excited to see what they do with him, whether he makes the starting lineup to start, which I don't think he will. Uh, but I'm excited to see what direction they go with him.
hell, you got me excited for him now.
I'm telling you, check out his highlight tapes. I mean, the guy is crazy athletic.
So with that, I think that kind of leads us directly into our next question of most surprising draft pick, and I think we could both agree that's probably it.
Yeah.
I would say that's definitely my most surprising draft pick.
It's
Like I
like
said,
that,
I think you'd agree with that. I mean,
yeah.
everybody knew Edwards, Weissman, Ball were going to be top three
And I mean, when I was,
or somewhere
I
in the top five. And then the fact that Patrick
right.
Williams just kind of comes out of nowhere, it's like, yo, what?
I know
Again,
he was
what did
in
they
some
see?
guys' draft. I know that Patrick Williams was in some guys' draft boards, like a few analyst draft boards in the top 10. But I mean, he wasn't a widespread number like a top 10 pick. He was not a widespread like big name. I mean, obviously I follow the Bulls, which is why I invest Chandler and Daniel Gafford, Wendell Carter Jr. like all these Bulls rookies. Just I I enjoy it. So
And they have a
I
big
do
market too. They
they
got a
do
market that you could really get into because I mean, there's Bulls fans all over the place. Like it's not
right.
just an Illinois or Chicago thing. Like it's all over the place.
Right. And it's just, so it's like, I know he was in some guys' draft boards, but when I'm following the Bulls leading up to draft night, they're talking about drafting guys like Denny Avdia, or Avdia. I don't know how to pronounce it. Killian Hayes, Obi Toppin. Like they're not talking about Patrick Williams. So I agree that is also my most surprising pick, but also the one that I am excited for, because leading into it, I was when they said Patrick Williams out on draft night, I'm like, who?
Honestly, no.
But
I think you actually changed my mind on the rookie I'm most excited for. I think you changed my mind.
it's like in a top 5 pick, why would you pick sixth man of the year? Like, as a granted, he's like he is behind everybody else age wise. So it's like it's intriguing, and it's like you pick a sixth man of the year as your number 4 overall pick.
Yeah.
I know this year didn't have that standout Zion, RJ Barrett, like big name player. But at the same time, there were other guys that everybody had heard of, like one of the collegiate players of the year who did not go in the top 5. Like I it just you just kind of wonder, you know. That's
Yeah.
why I'm excited to see what exactly he does.
That's fair. Like I said, I think you changed my mind. Um, Now we're going to get into one more draft question. What do you think the best draft pick was?
The best draft pick, in my opinion, is the safest pick of all of them based on the need that they had, and that's Golden State picking James Wiseman. Golden State has been lacking at the center position for the past however many years since Andrew Bogut left. They've filled in with just some really non all star or star caliber players, and James Wiseman is that guy that's going to come in, and I think he will do well with Golden State. Um, just based on the need, they needed somebody that's going to come in and make a difference at the post position. Draymond Green obviously is a competitor. He's a workhorse, but he's undersized. He can't guard that center position, and getting a guy like Wiseman who's got talks of being where people are predicting him to be an all-star, superstar caliber player in the NBA. I think that's a great pick. I think that is the best pick based on the need that they had.
Yep. And that was actually going to be my pick too. And I think you probably said it better than I would have anyway. So with that, we're going to do one more question, and then we'll start talking about some actual cards investments that we're kind of looking towards. So our last question, coming back to the Lakers again, is going to be, what is LeBron's chance at GOAT status with where their team stands now? Like, what do we think that potential for him to reach that status is going to be? I mean, obviously he has 4 rings now. You know, Jordan with his 6, and Jordan being, the GOAT. Um, where does LeBron stand in that conversation?
So, anybody that knows me knows that I do not think LeBron compares to Jordan in any sense of the greatest of all time status. That's part of me being a product of my surroundings, part of me obviously having a bias. Um, and But at the same time, I never denied LeBron's dominance. He is the most dominant player. He is the one that attracts most people to the NBA. He gets people watching. He is the feature. And that's why everybody's so excited about Zion, because Zion is the guy that everybody feels like can take that and keep the energy up for the NBA. Because
In my
he's
opinion,
just that.
that's
He's,
Trae Young.
you think?
That's just me. I'm a
It's just
huge Trae Young.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, Trae Young's a great player, but it's just like Zion is that rookie who came in. Everybody knew who he was. LeBron, everybody
Oh,
knew who he was in high school.
took the new era of card collecting to the level that it's at.
Exactly.
I'm not going to deny that. Um, I think personally that it was a lot of hype. Not that he's not a good player. That's not what I'm saying. So let's not
He's a
get that
great player,
misconstrued.
but even
I
he's
think
not
though
as
that
versatile
there's
as LeBron was when LeBron came into the league.
definitely not. But I
It's
think that
one dimensional.
yeah, and I think that Trae Young and guys like Luca, those guys are going to be some of the futures of the NBA once Giannis and LeBron are gone.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
those are going to be two of the guys that kind
Luka's
of.
only a couple years behind Giannis. I think it's going to be Giannis's league for a while.
Oh, it will be for sure. But I'm saying, like, in that interim between Giannis, and the next guy,
Yeah.
I think Luca is going to carry that torch for a little bit too, as long as he can stay healthy. I really like both of their play styles. So, my opinion on the GOAT status question is probably going to be a little more unbiased than yours. Yes, I am a huge Jordan fan. I have quite an extensive collection of old school Jordan cards, couple Jordan autograph pictures, and whatnot. But what I personally think, and I've had this discussion a lot with a lot of other guys about goats in football, goats in baseball, goats in basketball, all across the sport, um, or different sports. I think that you can have a greatest of an era, and that's about it. I don't think that you could truly have a greatest of all time because the league with Jordan was a completely different league than what it is now. Um, you had what the Pistons called the Jordan defense, where their goal was to hurt him. Their goal was to stuff him under the basket and make him hurt to the point where he can't score on you anymore. That was their goal. And you could even see that in the Last Dance documentary with Rodman and those guys talking about it. That doesn't happen anymore. You got guys flopping to take penalties like it's a soccer game.
See,
So
and
I just can't compare the two because it's not the same league, but at the same time, I would say Jordan stands out even more so because of the league that he played in, because of how tough, how rough, and how much hatred he drew from other teams for being as good as he was. Whereas LeBron's a generally well liked guy, um, very dominant, as you were saying, but like I said, the leagues, the play style, that doesn't even compare across the two leagues. Now it's all about dropping those deep threes and going up for the flashy dunks and those kind of passes. It's an entertainment kind of thing as well as whereas back then it was try to beat the shit out of each other and score as much as you can at the same time. So I just don't think that there's really a comparison between the two, or I don't think there should be, or there can be, when logically looking at how the game was played and portrayed in those two eras. So I think you can have a greatest of an era. I don't think you can have a greatest of all time
see,
because of that.
like that argument does make sense to me, But at the same time, Jordan did play in the era of rough and tough basketball. You had to work for every single basket that you got. And the NBA now is not like that. And
Oh yeah,
I
and I
would
mean
be willing.
that's what I was saying is like if I do have to name one, I'm still going to name Jordan because of that.
Mhm.
It's just really hard to compare the two because we also can't argue that if LeBron was brought up the same way with his size,
Mhm.
you know, maybe he would have been just fine. Maybe.
Yeah. And that is an argument. And but then the same lens of if Jordan were playing in this current era, in this type of basketball, like in this type of defense, if the man was able to average over 25 points a game in that time,
Yeah, like what would he
and
have
if
done now?
he exactly, if he were playing now where the 3-point shot is relevant, where frankly the shots are a lot easier,
Yeah,
there's no saying that he wouldn't be averaging
30
30 something
plus.
points a game.
Yeah. No, and I mean I can like I said
So,
I can see it from both
but I
sides.
see your argument is it's a greatest of an era or a greatest of a time period. I can agree to that.
Like I
But
said, if
in
I
my
got to give the
opinion,
goat though,
Jordan,
I'm still giving it to Jordan. Like we're
yeah,
we're on the same page on both, points here.
right,
I just kind of wanted to bring a different dynamic to it, just because, like I said, we've had that conversation a lot between a lot of my friends,
yeah,
with playing, fantasy football and stuff like that, talking about, greatest QBs of all times and what stats truly matter and stuff like that.
yeah,
And that was what one of the doctors that I work with actually brought up was that he feels that you can have a greatest of an era, but not of all time, just because they're two completely different scenarios. It's almost like
right.
comparing two different sports, essentially. Like, I mean, it's the same sport, but it's just so drastically different that it leaves a lot of what ifs in the middle, ultimately.
See, and it's like the way I feel about it is I feel like Jordan changed the league more than LeBron ever did.
Honestly,
Jordan
I'd
Jordan
even argue
changed the
that Curry
NBA.
changed the league more than LeBron did.
Exactly. If we're talking about in this era, Curry had more of an influence on the NBA than LeBron ever did.
Agreed. No, and I mean that argument can be made all day because he's what made that deep three, the sharpshooter. He made that an element of the game. He
And it's
changed the spread of the floor, the focus of the defense. He made all of
exactly
that happen. Not saying LeBron can't shoot a three and he can't pull up deep threes, like he definitely can. We've seen it before. We've seen
right.
it for the last 17 years. But as far as influential upon the game, Jordan changed the game. LeBron came in and just played the game more than exceptionally well, to that
Yeah,
almost GOAT level status. And then Curry came in and changed the game. LeBron did not.
right. It
He
was
just
like
did it on an
when
extremely well, like he did it extremely well.
yeah. It's like Jordan changed the way people had to defend. LeBron didn't do that.
And then Curry did that.
Curry did. It's
Yeah.
just like if and that's where the kind of whole debate goes for me
Oh,
is
and I can totally get behind
everybody
all of that.
right. It's like everybody in the NBA was trying to figure out how do we stop Jordan. I feel like nobody at any point was trying to figure out how do we stop LeBron.
You just play normal defense.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it.
exactly. And then when 3-point shots became more relevant, then the whole league changed, and now everybody's surrounding themselves with shooters, so things are easier for the
Yeah.
guys that don't shoot. Like
Well,
Giannis. Giannis is a perfect example.
yeah, I mean,
Giannis
because they have to
has
focus on
no
the
three
spread
point
now.
shot, and they surround him with four shooters, so everybody has to spread out So Giannis has the wide open lane.
All right.
So
So
it's
with changing this conversation real quick, this is actually the perfect segue into the next question. Who we're investing in, because
okay.
I'm gonna lead off of that Giannis point and go into Bol.
Okay.
I'm going for
I
Bol.
I helped influence that.
You did. You brought up the point last year that he's basically Giannis with a 3-point shot. A little bit taller, but he's Giannis with a 3-point shot.
Giannis was a stick when he came into
And
the NBA.
yeah, and I mean, I thought the same thing about Bol. I'm like, yo, this dude's super skinny. Uh, I don't know how he's gonna do. And then obviously in those scrimmages he did well. He went really hot for a while. I waited for him to cool off. Picked up some of his rookies for like $5 a piece. I've got 11 of them to be exact. Um, some of those are gonna get graded. Some of them won't. Um, but I'm actually really excited to see how he does this year, and then also, once he starts to actually get more playing time, see how he develops.
Mm-hmm.
Because being a shooting big man like that can also drive, he does have a potential, I think, to kind of change the game. I think he's going to be like an Anthony Davis, but better.
Yeah.
Or he has the potential to be. So he's one that I'm investing in. And then I'm also looking to invest in, got a bunch of De'Aaron Fox. We went over this a little bit earlier. Some Trae Young, Karis LeVert, because he's one of the cheaper guys on the Nets, that you could pick up for a fair price.
Karis LeVert is good, dude.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I got one of his silver selects on its way. Picked up one John Wall card just in case. Got it for a good deal, so I was like,
Just in case.
maybe, Yeah, I'm not going to be investing too heavily. It's just I grabbed one because it was there and it was for the right price. I do like John Wall, but we already kind of hit on that. So
I mean, he's got his own dance. How can you not like him?
Yeah, and then exactly, I grew up in the era where he had his own dance to that at like junior high school dances, and then
he does the John Wall.
everybody had the Reebok Zig-Tex because of that. So I did invest decent, not like heavily in terms of price, but more in terms of number in some Chris Paul first year Prisms, just because that's a highly sought after set, and if he goes there and really makes some stuff happen with OKC, that's a set that I want to be in on. Kind of a rare set because it was the first year Prisms had a shorter print run than what they do now. Obviously, Prism being the most popular. Picked up the same thing for Drew Holiday with his move to the Bucks because I think the Bucks are going to be good. Looking at Colin Sexton rookies, if you can find them for the right price. I was able to snag one up for $20 raw. Don't know if I'll grade that one, but just something to sit on. Like I said, some De'Aaron Fox. Big on De'Aaron Fox. You can get his second year stuff pretty cheap. Like I'm talking like less than $5 because his rookies are just out of my price range at this current moment. So yeah, that's pretty much everybody I'm looking at. I know you're big on Josh Okogie.
I love Josh Okogie.
So I actually grabbed a 3-pack for $540 on his rookie prisms.
I'm waiting for my lot to come in.
So yeah, I grabbed a 3-pack lot. Oh, and Lonzo Ball. I forgot to touch on him a little bit. That one I just went cheap and went on his Pelicans uni since that's the team he's with. So I went with basically his Pelicans rookie.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
I might have a trade for you if you're interested when we're done with this.
Yeah. Let's chat it up after this.
Yeah. As far as who I'm investing in, I'm really into buy low, get a big lot of guys that I can hope make it to some kind of all-star status. I love to gamble.
So do I.
Just take that big chance, you know. So I mean, I've picked up 30 card lot of Josh Okogie, as he said. I picked up a 60 card, or no, probably about a 40 card lot of Daniel Gafford. Just low level picks that I I see a lot of promise in. I watch their highlights. I think they've got a good shot of making something happen. Obviously, I need to do a little bit more research, buy into a few more guys just to kind of bet on. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting at right now. Just Okogie and Gafford. They're two guys that are super cheap right now. That I think are just going to pan out to be, I mean, at least a $5 rookie card at the end of the day. And when I can pick that up for under $1 a piece and a ton of them, I'm in.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's about it for all I'm investing in at this current moment. Obviously, I'm going to get into way more at some point
Yeah,
once the season starts. But that's kind of the guys that I'm gearing up on a little bit leading into the season that are kind of like potential stars,
mm-hmm.
or are already, young stars in their
Yeah,
own sense. Um, I really like De'Aaron Fox a lot. Like I said, he's super fast. Interested to watch him play this year. I do like watching him a lot. So, I mean, I don't really have anything else to speak on as far as that goes at this current moment. I'm going to kind of wait till the season kicks off. I mean, obviously, if any major changes happen between now and then, I'm going to hop on those where I can. If any trades happen or any more free agents get signed elsewhere between now and then, we'll be hitting up on those. But we'll be doing this podcast once a week, so
yeah,
we'll be able to update that kind of stuff as it happens.